Hi guys, I am so sorry. I have not been on here in a while. Also, I apologize. I have like no makeup on and just have like my eyebrows done. I'm totally going for tired new mom look. It suits me well. Anyways, I wanted to jump on here because I realized I never did a post birth update, and it's been like over 2 months. The baby turned 2 months a few days ago, so I apologize. Was looking through my YouTube and I was like, oh my god, I never did an update. Like, the very few people that look for it, that look at my videos, are probably wondering what's going on if you don't have me like on social media or whatever. Um, Anyways, the whole reason why I did any of my videos was to educate people about VCI, and for those women that have VCI, for them to follow along with my journey and to get a little bit of peace of mind, to know that things are gonna be okay. Um, Looking back at it, I really wished that there were some more information about it and just maybe more people that have had it, to maybe do these videos or maybe do like, blog posts or something about it. Because I remember when I first found out, like I said, like you can look back at my videos, I was like freaking out. So, that's why I started doing these videos, was to, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going on. So it's like, I want to help the next person that discovers they have VCI and are looking for some sort of something, like I was on the internet about it, other than, bad, like, oh, your child is, there's a 50-50 chance that your child can die. Like, no, nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear positive, and one-on-one information. Anyway, so I just like, oh, I need to do an update. So here's my update. I gave birth to a healthy, beautiful baby girl. Audrey is her name, on September 24th. I was induced on a Monday at 6 in the morning. They hooked me up to Pitocin. Um, they hooked me up to Pitocin around, I want to say like 7:30 in the morning. Prior to that Monday, I had a doctor's appointment and my last NST on that Friday, and my doctor did a membrane sweep, which means she went in to go see if I was dilated. I was dilated at 3 centimeters, and then so she went in and like basically went into my cervix and like stretched it out to see if that would get labor going on my own without having to be induced, because I told her I was induced with my son 13 years ago. Um, and I was on active labor for 28 hours. And I just was telling her that like I was induced with Pitocin, and my experience being induced wasn't a very pleasant one. I mean, what a birth, like what labor is pleasant, but it's just, I don't know. It just threw me. I was like, I don't want to be induced. I'd rather go into labor on my own. So she tried doing that. It gave me a few cramps here and there, but I didn't get any contractions. It really didn't do anything. So on Monday is when I went in, and like I said, I was hooked up to Pitocin around 7:30 in the morning. Um, I'm gonna be very like quick timeline wise. So like 7:30 in the morning on the 24th, I was hooked up to the Pitocin. It took about maybe an hour and a half for me to really start getting contractions that I was like, whoo. But I could still handle it. They kept on asking me, "Do you want the epidural? Do you want the epidural?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." I was good, and then a contraction would come and I would be able to breathe through it. It wasn't unbearable. So my doctor came in around, I want to maybe say like 11 or 12 to check me, and she's like, oh no, you're only at 4 centimeters. I was like, oh, okay. um After she came and checked me, she broke my water. That's when the contractions started to get a little bit more intense. The nurses came in and were like, do you want an epidural yet? And I'm like, in the back of my head, I knew, I was like, no, like, I think I can handle it. But, like, it was like, the angel was like, you can handle it. And the devil was like, girl, get it. Um, yeah, I think it's just like my inner me was like, I'm scared if I don't get it now, they're not going to offer it to me anymore. So I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll get it. So about 30 minutes later, the anesthesiologist just comes in, gives me the epidural. It was so funny. I remember getting the epidural with my son, and I remember with my son, I was in so much pain that I didn't even like. I was just like, give me the medicine. With this one, like I said, I wasn't in like, I was in pain, but I wasn't like, crazy pain. When they went to go put the epidural in, I could feel it in, and it like, it tickled. And the nurses were like, they're like, okay, it's going in. And I started like, I was like, like giggling. They're like, are you laughing? Are you crying? And I'm like, I'm laughing because it tickles. The doctor was like, never in my 23 years of being an anesthesiologist have I ever heard that it tickles. And I'm like, I don't know how to, like, it doesn't hurt, like, it like tickles. And he's like, I can't. He just was laughing, and we were just laughing together. I'm like, it tickles. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't hurt. I'm not, like, I'm just, like, like, I'm ticklish and it tickles. Anyways, they strapped me up, put me down. My family came back in, and it was so funny. The nurse was like, you're hilarious. I'm like, I don't know what else, to say. But epidural kicked in. I was like super, super numb on my right side, but could still feel like I could still move my leg on my left side, could not move nothing from my waist down on my right side. Like my leg, like I had to like physically like pick it up and like move it. But my left side, I could still move it. So they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, maybe we have to adjust it. Because every time I would get a contraction, it was like the weirdest feeling. Like I could feel it on my left side, but I couldn't feel it on my right. It was just a weird feeling. So I think maybe while I was giggling, I might have moved it to where it was like a little bit off to the right. Um, oh well, it is what it is. So timeline wise, that was probably like around 1 or 2 o'clock that I got the epidural. Um, I was able to get a little bit of sleep, like a very, very little, because I was just like super anxious. Oh yeah, I was able to get a little bit of sleep. I want to say like around 3 o'clock. The nurse came in to check me, and she's like, "You're only at 4.5." Um, you know, I guess my cervix wasn't. It was like still high up or whatever. And she was saying, just let's, it's gonna be a while. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So she goes off to the side, like they had like in my room, it was a really big room, and she went like in the room, she has a computer and to like log everything. And every time she comes in and checks me, she takes about like 10-15 minutes to do her little log and all that. Anyways, so she goes to sit down, and I'm, sitting there watching TV and la 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 la. And I'm like, I want to say maybe like 10 minutes passed. And I'm like, I'm feeling a lot of pressure. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, she's like, is it uncomfortable? And I'm like, I don't like, I feel a lot of pressure down there. I thought I'm not supposed to feel anything. And she's like, okay, give me a minute and I'll check you. So then she checks me and she's like, oh my gosh, you're at a 6. And I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy. She's like, I know, wow, that's really like within 10 minutes, right? She's like, okay, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go and call the doctor. She's like, see maybe if we need to turn down the Pitocin. Your body might be naturally in like, going into labor on its own. So with your natural, you know, body going into it naturally, and then also with the high percentage of Pitocin, it might be too much. I said, okay, that's fine. So she went, called the doctor. And then, like, I swear, within like 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a lot of pressure to the point where, like, I want to push the baby out. It was the weirdest thing. So then my husband calls the nurse in, and then so she's coming, she checks me. I'm at 9 centimeters. So I go from 4.5 to 6 to 9 within 15 minutes. That was crazy to me. So the nurse was like, okay, we're turning off the Pitocin and we're also going to turn off the epidural. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, because the baby's heart rate is slowing down. And since your body is doing it naturally, an epidural also slows the process down. So we need to turn everything off. I'm like, I should have never even got the epidural. Like, I maybe had it for like 2 or 3 hours. I was like, oh my God. So they turned it all off. Flash forward to like 6 o'clock. They check me and they're like, yeah, you're still at a 9. We're gonna, or like, I think it was like 9, 9.5, 10. And they're like, okay, we're gonna start to push. So this is like around 6:30. We're gonna start to push. So the nurses come in, I have my husband, holding me up, and I start to push, and I'm pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I push for about 4 hours. 4 hours of pushing. Then they put like a peanut shaped pillow, and they said, let's do this because the baby is still high up. She's not even like she's like, I can like feel her head, but she's still high up. So I'm like, oh my God, okay, cool. So they put the peanut thing, and they're trying to put me on my left side, on this side. Then I started pushing again. They turned me on my left side to like bring my like leg up like this. Let's push that way. Turn to my right side. Push, let's do the same thing. Do that. Squatting, and it's like nothing is happening. I was in so much pain. I was like screaming. Then I started freaking out. I started losing my breath. Like, I felt like I was gonna faint. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I'm in so much pain. 1, she's not moving down at all. 2, and 3, it's like I have the nurse telling me that I am not pushing correctly. I have my husband on one side, sorry, honey, I love you, but he pissed me off. I had like when in between a contraction, like, so I would push and then it's like I would have downtime, he would go and sit down on the couch and like be on his phone, and that like started pissing me off. So it's like a combination of everything. I was like, I can't breathe. So then they put the oxygen mask over me, and I think that kind of freaked out my husband. He was like, his face was like, oh my God, like, what is happening? I remember, I think he like texted his mom like, I don't know what to do. Like, and so it was just, yeah, he was like, holy crap. And I yelled at him like, get off your phone. Like, stay off your phone and help me push. Like, oh, it was a lot at once. And I want to say like around 10 o'clock, my doctor comes in and is like, no, like, we need to get this baby out. So she checked me, and then she's like, okay, I'm gonna go deliver another baby. She's ready in another room. When I'm done with that, we're getting this baby out. And I was like, okay. So as my doctor's delivering another baby in another room, I'm pushing, right? Like, I'm in the middle of a 3 10. So you count for 10 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 times. I'm in the middle, so I'm on my second count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the nurse says, stop, 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 stop pushing. Closes my legs and turns me to my left-hand side. The baby's head was like out of me. And she's like, stop, 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 stop pushing, stop pushing. And like, close my legs and roll me on to my left-hand side. I'm in the middle of a contraction 1. I'm in the middle of a count, like of a pushing 2, and my baby's head is in between my legs. And you're telling me to stop, that I need to wait for the baby, or need to wait for the doctor. I was like, you've got to. And I was screaming, and I think that scream made my doctor hurry up. My doctor comes, I'm here. Comes, gets, puts her gloves and everything on, and she's like, okay. She's like, we're gonna do four counts of 10s. And I was like, what? And she's like, you can do it. I don't want to hear no ifs or ands or buts. And I'm like, I can't do that. She goes, yes, you can. I do my first count of 10, second count of 10, third count of 10, and I was like, I can't. Another count. Let's go. The baby's right there. And I'm like, push. And like at 6, she's out. She's here. She was born at 11 o'clock at night. And, she was born at 11 o'clock at night. And it was like, such an unexplainable feeling. She is such a beautiful, chubby girl. They put her right on my chest. It was like, oh my God, all of this is so completely worth it. Like, I would do this 20 million times over again and go through everything over and over and over again. The absolute, just to see her there, and she's, healthy, and she's big, and I'm like, oh, so worth it. So they had the baby on me. My husband cut the cord, took the baby to the scale, and as that time, that's when my doctor was like, okay, we need to manually deliver this placenta, because if I pull, it'll snap. Okay, no problem. She's like, it's gonna hurt, and I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, I know, but you just went through all of this. This is just a minor. And I'm like, okay. So she has me, start pushing again. One nurse is like pushing on my stomach to try to get it out. My doctor like reaches in there with her hand and like scoops it out with her hand. And I was like, oh my God. And she puts it in the thing. My husband rushes over to look at it, and it's like, my daughter is a miracle. How in the world she was able to get so big and to be so healthy. Looking at the cord in the placenta, the cord was not connected to the placenta whatsoever. It was connected to the sac. How she got, she was 7 pounds, 12 ounces. Or 7'11", almost 12. She's a miracle. And I thank God every day. I thank my doctors. I thank my family. Like, she's amazing. She's a miracle. She literally fought for her life. And that's crazy to me. It's like, oh my God, it's so crazy. My husband and the doctors, the nurses were like, oh my gosh, we've seen velamentous cord insertions all the time, but this is a unique one. And my doctor's there snapping pictures of it, and she's like, normally it's like I said, it's hanging on to the placenta by a thread. Mine wasn't even connected to the placenta whatsoever. It was like that much away, connected to the sac. It was just amazing to look at, amazing to see. But yeah, she was so healthy, 21 inches, 7 pounds, 11 ounces, a head full of black, curly hair, just like my husband. Um, and she's amazing. She's 2 months now. She has such a personality. She smiles all the time. She is such a happy baby. All she wants to do is smile and, just be held, and she loves to eat. I don't blame her. She loves to eat. The only time she starts to cry is if she's hungry and you don't have bottle right there. Like she's crying right now and it's probably because she's hungry. Um, if you have VCI, I swear and I promise you, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There are support systems. There are videos now with mine that you can follow and that hopefully you can get support from and get some sort of glimmer of hope. And I want you to know that babies are miracles, and if you have VCI, your baby is going to be just as fine and just as perfect as any other baby. I promise you. Okay, so I want to show you the baby. Say hi, Audrey. She's waking up from a nap. Oh. She's hungry. Like I said, the only time she cries is when she's hungry. All of this hair. She's perfect. So I hope my journey and my explanation of everything helped whoever is out there looking for it. If you have any questions, need any support, know that I'm here. Message me. I promise you I'll give you any sort of insight and anything that I can help you with. I am here for that. I hope you all have a great day, and I will jump on here as time allows to update things about her. I'm getting back into my cosmetology life, so might do videos of those sort of things, but so far I'm pretty busy with her. Bye guys.